Here are some mid-level builds that could be fully accessible by level 37. Alright, so the first one we have here is the Dangler build. The reason for this is because you get your first elite edges unlock at level 37 for this build. Make it 6'1", 160. I've got tape to tape. And I've been hearing a lot of good feedback on Make It Snappy. So a lot of guys have been using it. There's no other shooting trait that you can really have that would be really good. You could have shotgun off if you wanted to or something like that, but overall, Make It Snappy. It's been pretty good. I recommend using it just until you get something like 1T or close quarters that is unlocked at the end game, end level builds. Can't obviously get that now. So I would try out Make It Snappy if you haven't, see how it feels. You might want it. And I've got shooting trait, controlled passing, and then this is my typical, 6'1", 160 type setup for my attributes. It's pretty routine of what it is. We have our power forward, our first power forward build at 6'2", 210. Just like last year, we've got now truculence as well being unlocked at level 37. You can obviously, you're gonna have to obviously grind to get to this level if you want to obtain truculence. And then again, same thing, tape to tape, Make It Snappy, controlled passing, shooting threat. A lot of this has kind of just been the same. You don't have a whole lot of speed to this build yet, or quickness. You can have balance. You can maybe lower it even more if you wanted to have a little bit more agility. That's up to you. But overall, the defense of this build isn't not going to be there, so it's a little bit weaker than the playmaker. But of course, you could lower the body checking, but I feel like that defeats the purpose of having gold truck. Want to keep your body checking high, and then everything else here is pretty much how you want to set it. This is my typical setup for a lot of these builds at 6'2", 210. Now introducing another build here, two-way defenseman, 6'2" at 190. Very similar to the two-way forward with my setup there. And the reason for this is because you have gold shutdown, very useful trait. I honestly love this. And then gone with tape to tape here. You could put on Send It. This is a defensive build, so if you want to have a little bit of an easier time, a little bit help with those long stretch passes, that's what Send It is here for. But tape to tape, I don't know, it's weird. Seems like it sort of does the same, but then it also applies on the medium type passes that you would make, not to roll long stretch passes, but it does seem like it also helps in that range too. So it's something to keep in mind. Quick pick, I've been hearing a lot, and I've been kind of experiencing a lot of troubles with intercepting passes. It just seems like they want you to have something like quick pick on. You can kind of let me know what you guys think, honestly, but I've been seeing a lot of times I'm in a really good spot and the puck goes through. I feel like you might want to try out quick pick just to see if it's something, maybe the game is not right, and just see if maybe quick pick helps in that range. Now you could up your defensive awareness, but how much do you want to really sacrifice that? And even when you do, I mean, hell, I was using the bones with the 99 defensive awareness on the puck moving, and I was still missing the passes where I was in really good position. So it does seem like it's kind of broken right now, where it doesn't seem like the defensive awareness really applies so much on the intercepts. Now you could tell me, oh, put on magnetic or put on no contest, but that does not apply for that. Quick pick applies for advanced at intercepting pucks off the ice. So this is for the intercepts. This is what your defensive awareness goes into, is intercepting and picking off passes. No contest goes with battling for the puck, meaning you're going for the puck and somebody else is going for it. You're going to get it because you have no contest, or you have a better opportunity of getting it. And then magnetic allows you to reel in loose pucks or rolling pucks, whatever. It is not for intercepting pucks. People keep telling me this. That is not what this trait is for. That's why this is an offensive trait. When you look at defense, quick pick is the trait for intercepting pucks. That being said, you don't have to have this if you feel like you're good. You could have something like no contest, or you could put on stick 'em up or something like that. It all depends on you. Shutdown, I feel like, applies enough to the poke check and body check, so you could combo it with this, with having no contest on, or if you wanted to try out that quick pick, you can do that as well. Control passing, positional IQ, and then you're getting your 90 speed, a lot of agility. Good on passing. I love the play style for these types of builds. Two-way defenseman, two-way forward as well. It applies a lot for these for this category, so it's really good in that area. Anybody else is pretty much routine. Now we go into some of the changes. This is my puck mover defenseman build that I've shown you guys last time. The only change really was from no contest to shutdown. Again, you can keep no contest, and the only thing that we're really missing here between now and end game or the end level is reaching level 47 to getting elite edges. Then this build would pretty much be complete, as well as also changing out the boost for the additional +2 to speed and acceleration as well. That's when this build will be fully complete, but as of right now, you can only do so much. Pretty much have most of what you want to have for this build, so it is there. It's still pretty locked down. You can use it if you want. Same thing, the change for the two-way forward. The only difference, if you were going to be playing defense here, if you're going to use anything else other than shutdown and you want to use gold stick 'em up or gold no contest, I would recommend then throwing on two-way forward. You have a little bit more for your shot, I believe, and also the deking is a little bit higher. But beyond that, I mean, it's kind of the same. Doesn't really see much. Because again, if I were to lower the face-offs here, the only reason why the deking appears lower than the two-way forward, or the two-way defenseman, should I say, is because the face-off is maxed out. Now, if I was to play defense here, I could lower this all the way, and I would have a lot more points to put back into my deking. Now you have an additional +5 or 6 points back into your deking, which helps a lot. So, and the shot as well, I believe, is a few points, maybe more for the accuracy, which again doesn't do much, but the deking is pretty much where it is. You might as well take the amount of points that you want to have into that. So if you're going to use anything other than shutdown for the two-way defenseman, I would recommend then putting on two-way forward for gold stick 'em up, gold no contest, whatever. And the playmaker, it pretty much remains the same. The only change out was from stick 'em up to shutdown, and then everything else is pretty much the same. You can't really do much here with this. You could throw on maybe puck on a string, but I don't really see the point in doing that. If you're going to do that, you might as well put on the dangler. But I understand why you'd maybe want to have that for the playmaker. It does have a little bit slightly better defense. Dangler is kind of like a mid-tier between the sniper and the playmaker in terms of his defense. But the playmaker does have a pretty good balance, I would say, here when it comes to being quick and also having really good defensive stats. So this here is pretty much where you're at with that. As far as a sniper, again, not much that can be done here. The only change out, I believe I'd still have, yep, close quarters are still there. Tape to tape. You could change this out for something else if you really wanted to. The difference here is, again, having make it snappy. Again, there's a lot of good feedback for this right now. I mean, you're gonna be waiting for 1T and anything else, so that would be the only thing here. 1T and elite edges would probably make this build complete, as well as the +2 for your speed, possibly +2 for your acceleration if you're waiting for that as well. And then you could lower then the weight to 160 if you want to max out on that. But that's all you're pretty much waiting for right now until you hit endgame. So make it snappy again. If you want to try that out, I would recommend doing so. It is a pretty good trait that I've heard so far. But again, you can see the lackluster of defense. You could lower the body check and even more if you wanted to. Maybe apply a couple more points back into stick checking or lower the offensive awareness. But I just don't see the point. This build is not meant for defense. So maxing out on what is there to make you as successful offensively as possible is pretty much what it is. The way you want to go for that. I don't recommend using this build for center. Kind of want to have your deking up with a build like this to score goals. Our last build that we have here is a defensive defenseman, 6'2", 210. Truculence. Again, this gets unlocked at level 27, so you get this pretty early. You can use this for a good, solid lockdown defenseman build. Truculence, as I've said in the past, right now, currently hip checks are better, or kind of pretty much at the same level as a truculence body check. So any build can hip check. You could be a sniper and lay out a big guy and just hip check him. Truculence, you know, it does a lot as well with the body checks. Right now, it just doesn't seem like it's a very effective trait. It's useful. I would recommend putting it on because who knows, right? You know the updates that are going to be coming later this month, possibly in the next week or so. Who knows, right? They're supposed to balance the hip checks, not make it as effective, and they're supposed to lengthen the amount of time you get up after receiving a big hit. So that would make truculence on the same level as how it was in the past couple years. So I would definitely, this will be used. You would definitely see this a lot in the 3s environment, not so much 6s. I would say you can just understand that there's been a lot of penalties with truculence. Even though it's a big hit, you know, you get penalized a lot. There's elbowing calls now. There's, you know, all kinds of penalties that you're getting if your discipline's not high enough. I don't even know really where that should be set to where you're not getting penalties while also dishing out these big hits. So I don't recommend this in a 6s environment, definitely 3s. So keep in mind that. Tape to tape, stick them up. Control passing, positional IQ, 88 speed. You're just waiting for that boost with the end game builds to get you at 90. And then pretty much everything else here, this is pretty solid here. I mean, I don't even remember what this was, the playstyle in the past couple years. Just to me, it seems like it's higher. Like you're pretty locked down here right now. Everything is above 85 pretty much. You know, obviously the body chicken, but you have truculence that's gonna basically make body chicken over 90. And then you've got your stick 'em up, which applies this now for your stick checking, and everything is there. So it's quite nice, actually.